Hey guys, bman here. How are you doing today? Today we've got an awesome one for you guys. As you see right here, we've got heaps of ancestral uniques and all sorts of awesome gear, guys. High level gear and all sorts, guys. We're level 82 and everything, guys. Today I've got an awesome way for you to be able to get the best loot, the best gear, and get super XP so you can level up fast, guys. With that said, step number one to this is smashing that like button on my video and checking that you're subscribed. If you're not, make sure you subscribe. With that done, guys, let's get straight into how we're going to do this, guys. Now what this consists of is nightmare dungeons, because the devs themselves have confirmed that the drops in Nightmare Dungeons is better tier drops, so they're better stuff, better chance for ancestral items and stuff like that, and you've got a better chance for uniques, okay? So this is really good for farming for gear as well as XP. Now XP, Nightmare Dungeons are the best because how XP works is if you're killing monsters that are 4 levels above you, that's when you get the maximum XP per kill for monsters. So what you want to be doing is aiming for a nightmare dungeon that is 4 levels above you. If you go any further than 4 levels above you, it's pointless because you're not getting any more XP, but it's taking longer to kill each enemy because they've got more health and stuff like that. So go for 4 levels above you because that's going to be most effective, and we're not completing the dungeon for this, so you're not worrying about the glyph XP at the end. If you're after glyph XP, this isn't for you. This is for everything else, so farming gear and farming XP in general, okay guys? So with that said, you're going to be farming the heck out of the nightmare dungeons because you can just keep repeating it and repeating it. So you do not need to worry about having heaps of different sigils and them doing random different affixes and stuff like that. You want to focus, choose your nightmare dungeon, the dungeon that works best for you, all different dungeons, and you can see the name of the dungeon on affix so you know what one you're choosing before. Then also the affix, you want to choose the affix that makes the dungeon run the easiest for you so you can kill the monsters the easiest. And then once you've got that, you're going to keep those affixes and that dungeon for the whole day if you want, and you just keep running that same dungeon over and over again. We instant reset the mobs in the dungeon, okay? So with that said, guys, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into how we're going to do all of that. Find your sigil and activate your nightmare dungeon sigil, and then make your way to your nightmare dungeon. Okay guys, so we've activated our sigil and there's our nightmare dungeon active. We just got to make our way to the nightmare dungeon and enter the nightmare dungeon, guys. So this here is my pre-recording now that we're on. So we've loaded in to the nightmare dungeon, right? This is the nightmare dungeon we use the sigil to activate. Now all we need to do for here is to load into it, and then we just want to exit this dungeon. All I'm doing here is just checking the level of the mobs in this dungeon, and as you see, they are actually 6 levels above me, which is 2 levels too high, but it doesn't matter for this recording. So once we've done that, we've entered into the nightmare dungeon. All we've done is left that dungeon, and then we're going to go to our next closest dungeon that's closest for us. You want to go to another dungeon, okay? Or a dungeon that you prefer to run the first phase of. Because this next dungeon, that's not the nightmare dungeon, you need to go through and you need to complete the first phase of it, okay? So for us, this dungeon here was freeing the 6 prisoners. So I had to go through and I had to complete that and free all 6 prisoners of this dungeon. So once we've done that, then we can leave this dungeon and go to the next dungeon. And for some reason, that bugs out the nightmare dungeon, guys. So as you see here, we free the prisoner. That will spawn this guy, so we kill him, clear it off, and we leave the dungeon. Just by the wheel, leave dungeon just like that. That is that done, and now we make our way back to our nightmare dungeon, guys. I have to clear up this mob of elites. Mobs of elites are always good for more XP, so I'm always happy to clear those up if I'm grinding XP. But with that said, we're making our way back to our nightmare dungeon so that we can clear things that are a much higher level and get more XP from them. We've made our way back and we're back to our nightmare dungeon. So what we've done is we activated our nightmare dungeon, we went to our nightmare dungeon, we exited our nightmare dungeon, we went and completed the first step of another dungeon, then we've come back to our nightmare dungeon, okay, after completing the first step of another dungeon. Now we can go through and we can just kill everything in our nightmare dungeon over and over and over again, guys. But there is one key thing to this to keep it working is, as you see here, this nightmare dungeon has a boss fight. Do not activate the final step of the nightmare dungeon, because then that will stop it from resetting, and then when you go out and you come in, it will not be reset. But if you see right here, I didn't go into the boss fight for the final step of the dungeon. You leave dungeon and you can just go straight back in and it's full on reset. So you can just use this to power kill out all the mobs, because obviously they're 4 levels above you, so you're getting way more XP, and they've got way better drop rates for ancestral gear and better higher quality gear. So I got 4 drops of level 800 items in this run here, just this one run here, because it's a nightmare dungeon. You don't have to go stupid tier levels to be able to get the real good drops. You just need to be doing nightmare dungeons and you'll get really good drops for your level. Your level is what depicts on the quality, okay, or the level of the item. So with that said, guys, as you see here, you can just keep going through and killing everything and leveling up, getting all your drops and everything, guys. Just do not go into the final step of that dungeon that you're doing. Every dungeon's different, so you need to know what your final step is for your dungeon and not activate that final step. So for us, it's that boss fight right there. If I go through that door, I activate the boss fight final step, and then I can't reset this dungeon. So I don't go past that red life potion thing and into that door. I leave it here, and then I can just keep going over and over again. And when you get full gear, you can just press T or use your portal to go back to town. You can sell all your gear off and do everything in town, and then you can use your return to town portal to come back to here, and you can keep going and keep doing it, and your dungeon will still be able to keep being reset over and over again, guys. So with that said, guys, you now can carry on power resetting nightmare dungeons, and it's the dungeon of your choice with the fixes that you like that make it easy for you. With that said, smash that like button for me, subscribe if you're not already, and of course make sure you have an awesome day. Get in there and get all of your nightmare dungeons done. Rolling over, get all your XP, level up, and everything you want. Unfortunately, you won't be able to, if you finish the dungeon, to get the glyph XP, you won't be able to keep rolling it over. So this won't be good for you people trying to level up your glyphs. You'll just have to do dungeons normally. But those that aren't trying to level up your glyphs, this is for you. With that said, have an awesome day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. bman, out.